Mr. Swarup, I'm just going through your Twitter account. 20 hours back, you said that coal auctions are a win-win for state governments and end consumers. But what about the companies bidding, sir? It seems like now 9 coal blocks are being relooked at, and there is an allegation quite clearly of cartelization. How would you defend that?
First of all, the government should examine if there are certain outliers, and indeed, government is examining. That does not mean that there is a cloud over these auctions or coal block or the process thereof. If there are, as I've been repeatedly saying, there are certain things to be examined, they will be examined. That doesn't mean that the chapter is closed or totally open. Examination is something which we should do in the context of what is happening in the past few years in the coal sector. You will certainly not want me to take the decisions with eyes wide closed. The government would certainly want to examine. If there are some prima facie issues, they are being examined. It should not be assumed that these blocks are under a cloud or they would certainly be cancelled. It is an examination that is happening, and I think due diligence should precede a decision.
So are you ruling out cancellation on record, Mr. Swarup, then?
No, the question is when a decision gets taken, cancellation happens when you give something to somebody. This is a question of acceptance. The question is whether government accepts the bids that have been offered or not. You cancel something when you give something to somebody and then cancel it. Nothing has yet been given to anybody. So this is a question of accepting the bids that have come to the government, and the government will take a call after due examination. There is nothing in the context of cancellation per se.
What are the initial findings telling you? Is the initial examination indicating that there was a cartelization?
I would certainly not want to give a running commentary on each over. I'll tell you the final result when it happens. There is a difference between a cricket match and the decision that the government has to take. It's an internal process, it's going on. You can rest assured that before this weekend, we will have taken a decision on that.
Sir, which is fair, but just from the perspective of people who are wanting to understand how would this go ahead, what's the likelihood of assuming that there is some bit of news flow that has impacted this decision and you do decide to not accept the bids, will these companies be allowed to rebid, or how would the process then move ahead?
Okay, the options available with the government are as follows. There could be a re-auction, there could be an allocation to the states, the block could go to Coal India, there could be a regulator appointed. So there are a variety of options that are available if the government does not accept bids in some of the cases.
Okay, and the other bit is just from the conversation that we've had with these companies, what we understand that in case the Interministerial Committee rules against the companies, there is a good chance that these companies might go to the Supreme Court with it. That will delay the decision on these 8-9 blocks. And I believe this is something exactly that the government was trying to avoid in the first place.
No, government was not avoiding anything. Government was committed to bringing about a transparent process and position, and the auctions have actually happened in a very transparent manner, meaning thereby that if there are any outliers or any discrepancies, they become very evident, and if they are evident, they need to be examined. That's what the government has done. As far as going to the courts is concerned, this is a democracy, and constitutionally everyone has a right to go to the court, and if they are dissatisfied with any decision of the government, they would go to the court, and we are okay with it.
But Mr. Swarup, if the auctions have been online and transparent, there is no question of foul play.
No, try and understand, it's not a question. We are not even questioning the foul play part of it. We are merely saying that the auctions were indeed transparent, and if there are certain outliers in it, the government should examine it, especially in the context of what has been happening in past so many years. I'm sure you would agree that if there are any outliers, they need to be examined. How can you just close your eyes and take a decision? It is not necessary that all the bids will not be accepted or will be accepted. This decision will be taken subsequently, but examination is a necessity that has to happen in case there are prima facie certain issues. You must understand, transparency does not necessarily mean that the bids are okay. Transparency means that in the process, whatever was happening was made available to everyone. No single individual was privy to the information. Information was available to anybody who wanted that information. So that's what is transparency about. Transparency does not rule out a re-examination.
Fair point. You know, Mr. Swarup, we've been chatting with all these companies, in fact, and they're saying that because they got coal blocks cheaper, they're now being relooked at. How would you respond to that?
No, try and understand this. If there are similar blocks and 3 of them are bid at a particular level and the 4th one is not bid at that level, I'm not saying it should not be accepted. The point is that needs to be examined. Suppose a block is bid at 100, the other one is at 90 and third at 70 and 4th one at 10, then obviously before taking a call on the block where the bid is 10, that needs to be examined. I'm very surprised that people are questioning the whole aspect of re-examination. There is a prima facie case that there are certain outliers. I'm sure this should be given to the government to examine it. Now, suppose, for example, we don't examine it and do it blindly. Next day, we will be questioned, why didn't you take a look at these blocks which did not bid so well as the other ones? So we are precisely doing that. We are taking a second look at the bids that have come and the decision will come. Why are we trying to prejudge every issue? I think everyone is trying to speculate on what the examination is all about. Examination is very clear. We did find prima facie certain bids which are not in tune with the other similar bids, and we are examining it. That's about all, nothing beyond it.
Well, sir, no one is questioning the examination. In fact, everyone secretly has complimented the entire process in which coal auctions have been done. So my compliments on that entire process.
Secretly.
But my question is that if there is some dirt under the nail which government discovers, what could be the penalty for someone who's found guilty? Will you cancel that coal block? Will you cancel other coal blocks? Will there be a penalty?
Try and understand. We are not investigating anything. That's the difference you must understand. We are not investigating any case. There is no complaint against anybody. The government is looking at the best possible revenues that it can get in the context of how the auctions have gone about otherwise. I don't know why this issue is coming up of penalty, of investigation. We are not investigating anything. We are merely examining the data on the face of it. And if we do understand that probably the government could get a better value for the coal blocks that have been auctioned, it may be re-auctioned or allotted to somebody else. So that's the point that I'm trying to make. We are mixing up the issues by calling it an investigation, talking of penalties. All this happens if there is a crime committed by somebody. We are not even looking into that.
Combination of cartelization, you're saying?
No, I have not even mentioned this word cartelization.
Oh.
Please try and understand. There is a pattern that is there in the bidding process. Now, if there is an outlier out of that pattern, don't you think we should examine it? Why that has happened? It could be on account of cartelization, but we are not making any allegation as of now. Let that examination happen and results will come out whether there is even a hint of cartelization or it is just that the bids are not as good as the other ones. So we'll take a call accordingly.
Just to get a closing comment from you, you said that examination is also comparison. What is the basis of comparison here? What is the basis of examination? There has to be a bedrock here.
Let me explain. Absolutely. You have a series of blocks, one after the other in a similar place. And in some of the blocks, the bids are higher. In 1 or 2 blocks, the bids are very low. So obviously, it needs to be examined if the bids are low or bids are high. You have to look at the outliers and examine in what context it has happened and then take a call.
Mr. Swarup, so when can we expect a final decision on Gare Palma 4, 2/3?
I don't know the names of these blocks which you're talking about, but in all such cases, decisions will be taken by this weekend, by Friday.
Thanks for joining in again.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.